Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. It's a PlayStation apocalypse, let me tell you guys. When was the PlayStation released? It's been over 25 years, guys, and disc rot is real. We have to face it, right? Some of us have collections, some are bigger, some are smaller, but every single PlayStation disc is going to be subject to this. Doesn't matter where you are, Father Time is undefeated. Now, for a lot of us, these games have a lot of sentimental value. Some people are collectors, what have you. It really doesn't matter. You're not going to get away from this one. It's just what happens. Even with the best of cares, these discs have a time limit. Now, just to put it in perspective, okay, how many PlayStation games do I have? And the quality of games. If I was to sell my PlayStation collection now, I would be able to buy a small, brand new vehicle. That's how many games I own. If I was to put in the market now. But to me, it's never been about the money. And let me tell you, let me give you some not financial advice, right? If you have games right now that are worth a lot, now would be the time to sell them. It would. I have, games that are worth, $400 or $500. It's not even that many games too. In the grand scheme of things, in order to be worth that much. That's why I have to insure my collection because, things can happen, what have you. But this is something we can't get away from. Now, like I said, I'm not selling my collection. If now would be the time to sell it. Let me tell you. If you're materialistic, if you're not into the hobby for collecting purposes because you want to play them, and if it's just financial for you, this is the time to dump them because, every year it's a ticking time bomb. They're going to go less and less. I take care of my games. I spend time cleaning my games. Let me tell you, and I've already had Saturn games that have gone bad. With all the care and everything in the world, nothing you can do. Now, let me tell you this. Here's a couple of tips. Store all your games upright. Don't put them sideways. Don't put them facing down. That'll make them last less. Make sure everything's clean, make sure everything's dry, that you're not in an area where there's a lot of moisture. If there is, you have to do temperature control. You have to take care of your games, but even with that, the most amount of time these games are going to last, under normal conditions is 25, 30 years, 35 years, maybe. But that's what you're facing. So what to do? For me, it's about the love of games. I really do love playing video games, and I love these old games more than I love the new ones. Games back then just had more personality, and that could be just a video on itself. But what we're talking about here is backing up your games. Make sure you rip them, you store them somewhere, because that physical media is not going to last forever, whether it's the console itself or the discs themselves or the cartridges themselves. You have to be able to back your stuff up. Me back in the day, I remember back in 2016, 2017, I was all a purist, Oh, you got to play on real hardware. You got to play real discs. You got to do that. I wasn't a big fan of emulation. Well, I am now because that might be the only way I get to play these games in the future. Now I'm going to put a link to my Substack here, guys, because I put, links to articles and resources you can find out there, wink, wink. Because you can't do it on this platform, right? You might get stricken. But the article goes into more detail on what I'm doing. I'm using, RetroArch and Retrobat. Of course, I bought in some things that over the years, but I really want to cure my collection. To me, it's more about quality than quantity. When you buy these collections, they give you everything. They give you, platforms that you haven't even played or ever even played, which they're nice to explore. But what I'm doing is I'm curating the games that I always play, the games that I want to go back to. All right, it makes it easier for me because the disc space is less. But I'm definitely right now focusing on the PlayStation collection, because those are the discs that I really need to rip, back up the ISOs, back up the ROMs, because I know they're not going to be around for for much longer, and I want to be able to play them, in my retirement years and stuff. I've invested a lot of money, I guess, over the years. The games have gotten up in value for what I bought them. I think the average price that I paid for games the last time I checked was like $4.54. That's how many games I bought in order to, get it to that cost for me. But still, like I said, they're worth a lot of money. They're worth tens of thousands of dollars just for this collection alone, right? And like I said, if you have it out there, and if you have need for the money, right, and this is the time to sell. It's a seller's market right now. But if you're willing to keep the games, and keep them around, keep them as mementos, what have you, then you need to protect your property. You need to, because all you have is these licenses on these games, right? That's your proof that you bought that license. Because whether you're buying it electronically now, digitally, or you have physical media, what you actually own there is a license, right? To play that game in your home console in the original state. That's really what the license is for, but you did pay for the game. You should be able to play it over time. And like I said, Father Time is undefeated. It really is. And sometimes what I've discovered through, emulation and backing up your disc is you can improve them a little bit. You can visually improve them. There's different filters you can use, different settings, depending on, what you're using to emulate your games with. You can have a better experience. Now, do I wish I could still play them on the original consoles? Yes. Could you mod your consoles? Yes. Could you buy a console modded, if you just want to experience the games for the first time? Yes. But this is more of a community service, I guess, warning, because this takes time. Backing up your games and curating a library of games that you want to play, games that you want for yourself, is not an easy task. You might think it's easy, but when you have, thousands of games in front of you, which ones are the ones that you really remember? Which ones are the ones you really want to play, right? I go back in my gaming experience and I think of the Twisted Metals. I think of playing Gex 3 with my son. I think of playing the Street Fighters, all the great games, the Personas back on the PlayStation. And those are the things I think of. Those are the games that I go back to. I'll pick them up and play them and just re-experience them. And seeing all the great moments that we had back then. Not only that, you get to experience these games and see what games are lacking today. Let me tell you, back then, the graphics weren't great, but those games had style. Those cutscenes had personality. Man, what great writing we had back then, as opposed to the, sometimes slop we get now in AAA gaming, as far as content, as far as writing, as far as many things. So many remakes that could be made. But if you like your games, if you experience those games back in the day, don't wait. Time is running out. You need to back up your games if you want to keep on playing them for the long term. All right, guys, that's a video for the day. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for me. Support this channel. Now I got to get back to doing homework, man. I got a lot. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
New videos every Monday and Sunday. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Gen X Gamer. Remember to like and subscribe, click that notification bell, and remember, never ever be afraid to be happy. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.